this video, we're going to be installing adjustable draw stops on a Realm X. We're going to be talking about the A4, the B4, the C4, the D4. We're going to be using the Realm X as an example, but the other bows that these stops will fit are the standard Realm, the Realm SS, the BT Mag, all the Fanatic bows, the Rain series of bows, the Eva Shockey, the BTXs, just about all the OverDrive binary bows that Bowtech has made in the past several years. It's also going to apply to the Cabelas and Bass Pro Shop bows that Bowtech makes for them. They'll be under the Blackout trademark. We're going to talk about installing the stops. We're going to talk long pegging, short pegging, and then we'll have some real world examples off of this Realm X so you kind of know what to expect from the stops. For the Bowtech OverDrive binary cams, we offer 4 different sizes: A4, B4, C4, D4. We also offer them in the Pro Pack where we bundle common sizes together like the AB4 Pro Pack, ABC, and ABCD4 Pro Pack. Each set includes a set of screws to mount the stops on your bow. The A4s have the factory size stop setting on it. The A4 with 1 dot side is the factory size, and we continually get bigger from there to the 2 dot, 3 dot, 4 dot, and then we go into the B4 size, the C4, and the D4. The progression is all the same from the A4 4 dot side to the B4 1 dot side is the same progression as from the B4 1 dot to the B4 2 dot. Each side goes up 25 thousandths per side or 50 thousandths diameter on your stop if you're looking at it that way. All of the radiuses on each stop on our stops are centered to the bolt hole. So your stop won't want to loosen up when you install it. The stops are easy to install. We don't have to worry about lining a flat edge up. We just have to get close. We'll go over installing that in a bit, and we'll go over why we have so many different sizes. In some applications, this gives us 16 different increments in between peg settings of the bow. Some applications will only use 2 sizes, some will use all 4, some will use 3. All right, let's go ahead and get rid of the factory stop on this bow. This is a Realm X again, and it's set at 29 inches in draw length. The module itself is set at number 5 position. On the other side, there's a peg that sticks through, and that's on the number 5 hole. And this peg, the factory stop, is in the 5 hole. We're going to be putting the A4 stop on, and we're going to go to the 1 dot side. So it's going to be the same as the factory settings, only the wall is going to be a little bit firmer on the bow. To remove the factory stop, we use a 5/64 Allen wrench, simply unscrew it. We do the same thing to the bottom cam as we're doing to the top cam. Now to install the A4 stop, we use the bolt that was supplied with the kit and a 3/32 Allen wrench and screw it into the hole that we took the factory stop out of, which is the number 5 in this case. Now we need to line this stop up. We need to orientate the stop so that it contacts the cable in the correct position. If you remember, all of our radiuses on these stops are centered to the bolt, so alignment doesn't have to be exactly perfect. We need to replicate this cable on this stop, and to do that we can just take a card, place it in the module and to the stop. And if we look at the stop, we're just looking at the edge of the stop is tangent to that card. It can be a little bit like this, a little bit like that, and it's gonna be the same because that radius is on the center of that bolt. That's also going to help the stop from not wanting to loosen up because there's going to be no off-centered force on that bolt. So we just simply tighten that stop down, double check that we are tangent, and it's all good. We do the bottom the same way. Then we would go out, we would shoot that bow, decide if we want to go shorter or longer. If you want to go shorter, we use the same stop and we go to the more dot side. So we go to like a 2 dot, 3 dot, 4 dot side. Let's say we just want to go moderately shorter. Let's jump right to the 3 dot side. Simply loosen it up, take that card, lay it on the module and the stop, and tighten that down. Do the same thing to the bottom. Go out and shoot it. See what you think about it. Once you've gone to the 4 dot side and decided that you want it to go shorter, then we would install the B stop, the B4. And there you have it. We installed the B4 on the 2-dot side. We would start on the 1-dot side, go to 2, go to 3, go to 4, just like we did on the A, and we would decide what we liked best and shoot it there. Now remember to come back to this again in the future and try different settings after you've shot it a while, even though that one particular day you picked, let's say this 2-dot side to be 2-dot side. You know, maybe a week or two later, try the 3-dot side and try the 1-dot side, see if it gets better or worse, and keep fine-tuning your bow like that. So all of this is to shorten the draw length, shorten the valley, define that back wall better, and on some bows it will actually increase your holding weight. It depends on the cam design. We will talk a little bit more about the results of this bow later in the video, but let's talk about going longer. Let's talk about increasing our draw length, increasing the valley, possibly decreasing the holding weight. And to do that, we'll go to our charts first. This is a sample of charts that can be found on our website. If you go to Media and Draw Stop Charts, you'll bring up a section where you can select your bow, and a similar chart like this will pop up. I am probably going to be discontinuing making the charts because they are a little hard for people to follow, and what I'll be doing is making a video showing you actually how to measure your cam so that you know how to select the proper size stops for your bow. The going shorter with the bow is not a big deal. We always start with like the A4 and work our way larger. This chart will tell us like what stop is the largest stop that really matters before we actually get into the peg hole in front of it. Going longer with the bow, the chart is very helpful because it tells us what size stop to start with and work our way down. When we long peg, we always start with the larger stop and then work our way down in sizes. So the example we have is a Realm X, and we have a 29-inch draw length. So our module is set at 5. When we're going shorter, our stop was in position number 5. We started with the A4, worked our way through the B4. And like I said before, if we get further than this, it's basically taking the A4, and then that would run into the number 6 position. I don't think you'd ever shorten a bow up that far, but that would be why we don't continue with a C and a D. Now, where the hole spacing on the cam gets further apart, when you look up here, this hole spacing is a lot further apart than this hole spacing. And if you look at our chart, then we start using some of the larger stops. So if we were shortening up a 30.5-inch bow, yeah, we could use a C and a D. To go longer on the draw length, we're going to long peg the bow, and our module is still set at number 5, but we're going to run our stop in position number 4. We would run with C would be our first. We want to start with the largest size stop, and I'll show you why in a minute, and work our way down to a smaller size. The C4 in this particular case only has one side that's functional, the 1-dot side. So we're just going to eliminate it from the equation, and we're going to start with the B4 and work our way down to the A4. So that's kind of how you read the charts. Again, going shorter is pretty simple. We start small, go big. This chart will tell you which size stop is the biggest that we can use. And when we're going longer, we start big and go small, so the chart's telling you what sizes to start with. And if you look up in here, like a 30-inch draw length, we would actually be able to use a D4 on that. So that would go in number 2 hole, and the D4 would span back to the 3 hole. Now to understand long pegging, what I've done is I have put the factory stop back on, because that's where our bow would stop in the factory position, and the card represents our cable that the stop actually stops on. I've laid a piece of tape along there so you can see, once I remove this stop, where the factory stop stops. And I'll show you how the going from big to small is the actual progression in making this bow longer, or adding a little valley, or possibly increasing the let off. So again, our module is set at number 5. and our original peg hole was number 5, and we're going to long peg, so we're going to go into the number 4 hole. So we put our stop in the 4 hole, and if we look at where our original card was, and we look at these sides, you can see how that stop is shorter than the original position. And that's going to let that cam roll over further, increasing your valley, your draw length, and potentially increasing your let off of the bow. And the reason we start on the big one is because this will be just a little bit more, increasing a little further, and so on. And then we would change this stop out once we've determined that we didn't quite get enough with the B. Then we can change that stop out with the A4. Same thing again. We go in the number 4 hole. And we would start on the big side of the A, which is the 4 dot side, and we line it up the same way with that card. And that would show you how much that cam actually rolls over further than where it stopped in the original position. Now that changes a lot of things. Like I said, change your valley length, your draw length, and your let off in some cases. So now we're actually set up for a 30-inch draw length, and I'm going to show you why we have some of these big stops like the C and the D. If you notice, the hole spacing between here and here is really large, and here is really small. And if you look at our charts, when you get down here, our stop selection probably only goes up to the B's, where I believe on this one it actually used a D. So if we were short pegging this bow, we'd do the same thing. We would run from the A, B, and C, and each one's gonna have a little less effect on the bow than it would down here. So an A4 with 4 dots up here is gonna have a lot less effect than an A4 with 4 dots down here. The big ones come into play when we're long pegging. This is a D4, and when we set the D4 up in the number 2 hole, if we were long pegging at 30-inch, you can see how that is the first step. The 3 dot side would bring us just about back to factory. The 2 dot side would be our first step in actually going longer. If we were making a 30-inch draw length on the Realm X, go longer, and then we would continue to the 1. And each side of this is going to have less effect again at this draw length than it would at a shorter draw length. And then we would continue to the C and continue down the sizes from the 4, the 3, the 2, and the 1. So the same thing applies if we're shortening. Let's say we were set up at 30.5 in draw length and we wanted to shorten this bow down, we would start with the A, and that's going to move us a little bit, and we would progress. We could possibly progress all the way to the D, and then if that was not enough, then we would start over in the peg hole shorter with the A. But like I said, I don't think you'll ever get that far. So primarily the large stops are going to be for long pegging, but you have to remember again that your effects down on this end of the bow, the shorter draw lengths, are going to be a lot faster than the effects at the long draw length. All right, now that we learned how to install the stop, let's talk about some numbers. We used the Realm X, and it was set at 58 pounds, and it was 29-inch draw length. And for this first set of numbers, it'll be on the comfort setting. For the stop, we had the factory stop, and that was in the 29-inch draw peg setting. and that was 8.3 pounds of holding weight. And that's what it took to get the cable back to the stop. And to go forward, it was 7.6 pounds. So that's the leg that you had in the bow, was about 7.7 pounds. Our A4 stop set at the 1 dot is what we consider factory. And since we have no rubber or anything in it, and it's just a little bit larger in diameter, not a whole lot, that's also set at the 29 inch. The holding weight was actually 8.7 pounds, and the forward was 7.9. So again, about 0.8. So it's about the same going forward. And the difference between the factory stop and putting our stops on with the A4 1 dot would be the back wall. And I would call it more of a defined back wall. I'm going to try and put it in numbers. So what I do is I pull back an extra pound, an extra 2 pounds, an extra 3, an extra 4, and an extra 5 pounds. So here we're pulling at 9.3 pounds, and then I measure how much the string moves. And with the factory stops, it moved 1/32. With the A4 stops, it moved 1/64. So half the distance. And at 2 pounds, it moved 1/16 with the factory, and it moved 1/32 with the A4s. And that's again half the distance. With 3 pounds, so now we're pulling 11.3 pounds. It moved 5/64 and 3/64. So now our rubber, the rubber on the stop has compressed right there. So from here out, the amount that it's going to move per pound is about the same. And at 5 pounds, it moved 1/8 of an inch with the factory stops, and it moved 3/32 with the A4s. So that kind of defines, so you could actually at double, go a whole, pull back 10.7 pounds and have the same amount of string movement as 9.3 pounds with the factory stops. That if that helps you with visualizing how that back wall feels. Now when we go to 2 dots, our peg hole is still the same in the 29, so we're still in the same peg hole as we are with the module. Our holding weight for 2 dots goes to 9.7 pounds, so it goes up a pound, and then it goes to 10.1 and 11 at 4 dots. And our draw length here, it's about even. And then once we hit 2 dots, we go minus 3/64, minus 3/32, and minus 9/64. So that kind of gives you an idea about how far that moves on each setting. And again, when you get into the longer draw lengths, that is a little bit slower than the shorter draw lengths. So the shorter draw lengths, moving 1 dot is going to move you a little bit more than what this is actually moving. Now from the A4 in a 29, if we want to go even shorter, we go at the B4, and we start on the 1 dot side, go to 2, 3, and 4, still in the 29 inch, and our holding weight on that jumps to 11.9, 12.7, 13.4, 13.7. So it's a pretty smooth increase with the holding weight. There's no big jumps anywhere in it. And every bow is going to be a little bit different. Every draw length is actually going to react a little bit different on how the holding weight goes up And our draw lengths were -7 30 seconds, -9 30 seconds, -5 16ths, -11 30 seconds. And then I did do the C4s in here just to keep going shorter, because our holding weight wasn't terrible yet. It's not getting real bad, so I kept going with it. And again in the 29, and we did a 1 2 3 4 dot, and it went to 14.7, 15.5, 15.7, 16.8, and -3/8, -13 30 seconds, -15 30 second, -33/64. So this is actually a little bit over a ½ inch already at the C4 4 dots. Now that's probably a little further than anybody's going to actually move it, but that's comfort and that's shortening it, which is typically the way I would recommend going with the comfort, is to actually shorten the bow. We can lengthen it, and I'll give you the numbers on that. So lengthening it, we go, instead of the 29-inch peg hole, we use the 29.5, and that's the ½ inch longer than the 29-inch, where the module's still in the 29-inch, but our peg hole's at 29.5. And we start with the big stop, and if you remember from the charts, it was a C4. And I said that, well, the 1 dot is really the only effective one on that, because if we go to 2 dots, we're actually going to be shortening the bow. And at 1 dot, our holding weight went to 8.6 pounds, and we gained 1/32 in our draw length. This is plus, this is going longer again. And then we would switch out to the B4. So this is a C4, the 1 dot's the only effective. Then we go to the B4, we start with the 4 dot side, 3, 2, 1. Same again, 29.5, and it goes 7.8, and that holds true all the way down. So we get to a certain point where that holding weight drops down, and it just kind of plateaus, and it doesn't ever really change after that. So the only thing we're changing is the draw length after this point. The holding weight is very flat, and I'm going to skip you all the details. At B4 1 dot was at 3/16 of an inch, and then we went to the A4 again in the 29.5, and we ran 4 3 2 1, and that ended up at plus 13/30 seconds, so a little shorter than 7/16 at the A4 1 dot when we're long pegging it. I really don't believe anybody's gonna wanna be down in here, but I mean, if that's the way you like your bow, I'm not shooting it, you're shooting it, so that's the way you should shoot it. A little note with the binary cams also is that always time the bow at full draw. So you want your draw stops hitting at the same time at full draw. The timing marks on the bow are just a reference to get started, the ones that are in front of the cable, but you really want to time it at full draw to have the best feeling bow. It'll be the smoothest draw. You'll actually feel it on the draw, and you'll feel it as it rolls over into the stops. So again, this is all comfort, going shorter, going longer. We're long pegging in the 29.5. We're staying the same, and like I said, I would recommend that we shorten the bow in comfort. Now you might get to a different draw length or a different cam, and it might be fairly jumpy for you, and you might want to lengthen it. Again, this all depends on the bow. This is just an example for the Realm X. And at 29.5, the bow at 29 inches, the bow at 28 might have a completely different feeling to it. So you've got to recognize what you want to do. If you want to shorten or lengthen or add more valley or less valley, you have to be the judge of that. And like I said, you're the one shooting it, not me. You might like to hold 16 pounds. You might want to hold 20 pounds. Then, you know, this gives you kind of a baseline of what we can do. Now the performance on this bow, the first thing, so again it's a Realm X, same bow, and it's 29 inches in draw length, and it's on performance. It's 58 pounds. The poundage should not change, and performance. Now the thing to note is that the draw length did increase 200 thousandths, so a little more than 3/16, just by flipping the disc. And the other thing we had to do is retime the bow because it was definitely off, going from comfort to performance. So if you think you're just going to flip the disc and try the bow, you better make sure your stops are hitting at the same time, because it makes a huge difference on actually what you're holding and how that bow feels drawing back. So on performance, we can shorten it just like we did here, and we go through the same steps again. A4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're in the hole, 29-inch pig hole again, all the way down. And our holding weight so the A4 1 dot holding weight is our factory, and that was 13.8. And going forward with it, so the first holding weight here is what it takes to get back to the stops. Forward is what it actually goes forward at, was 12.8. So it's 1 pound a leg on that. And our draw length obviously did not change from factory, because we are at what we're considering the factory. The 2 dots, 3, 4, 2 dots, we go to 15.1 pounds. So it's building poundage fairly fast. And we shortened up a little bit slower than what this one did. You can still kind of use this as a guide, but it's a little slower on performance. When we get all the way down to the 4 dot side, we lost 1/8 of an inch in our draw length. Our holding weight, factory is 13.8, 2 dots 15.1, 3 dots was 16, and 4 dots were at 17.1, and again we're losing 1/8 inch of draw length. And then we would continue to the B4, so that was the A4. Then we would continue to the B4, and again run 1, 2, 3, 4, and also in the 29-inch draw pig hole, matches our module, and it went 18, 18.8, so it kind of mellows out a little bit here, 19.7 and 20.5. So if you're target shooting, you might want to shorten that up a bit. And our draw length, all said and done on the 4 dots, we were at -5/16. So it's a little bit slower, a little bit lazier acting than on the comfort mode. And then again, we can go to the C4. That gets really, I mean, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll put them down here for you just so you know. 21.2, 22.1, 23, and 23.4. And that's -31/64. Now, that's probably not the way you're going to want to go with the performance. What you're going to probably want to do, and what most people are asking to do, is to go a little bit longer so they have just a little bit of valley in there and they can hold the bow and actually execute a shot. So the C4 again is where we start, and we start at 1 dot with that because the other dots are actually going to shorten it. And we're in a 29.5 inch draw pig position, so that's number 4 on the bow. and our holding weight on that was 13.5, and I didn't record any draw length difference from this, so it's kind of the spot where there just isn't much. Then we drop down to the B4, and then we run backwards again, so 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, we're in the 29.5, and that went 12.6, 11.6, 10.4, 9.4, and the draw lengths again were a little bit lazier, so it was a plus 1/32, and all said and done, plus 3/16. Then we would drop into the A4, and we were looking at 4, 3, 2, 1, 29.5 again. And then that will be 8.2, 7.8, 8.1, and 0.8 or 8 pounds. And all said and done, we're at minus 5/5/16. So we're a little bit lazier again than what we did on the comfort. You know, it's up to you how you want to shoot it. I would say, you know, what would make this fairly shootable would be getting down into that maybe B4 2-dot area, 3-dot. Depends what you like. Again, you might want to go shorter and increase it, but this is what most people are asking for, is to actually give themselves a little bit of valley. The draw lengths do not change as fast on this, so we can get we can lose a couple pounds of holding weight very fast with that, and just make that a little more shootable. Again, these are for the Realm X. One thing to note is that you do gain a little draw length going into the performance. You need to time those cams. I think based on this, I'm gonna do another study on the Realm X, and I'm gonna play with some of the speeds with it on performance and comfort. Now I know people have flipped them and given you a speed that this is the difference, but when we look at the numbers, I want to compare apples to apples. I want to compare you holding similar weights in the comfort and a similar weight in the performance and a similar draw length, and actually see what the difference is in the numbers. I think you're going to be very close once we get the bow about the same in comfort as performance, but that's going to be another video. I've probably bored you long enough. The stops are available on our website at www.lucky-stops.com. You can go to your dealer, see if your dealer has them. If he doesn't, have him give me a call, and we'll try and work something out. You can get a hold of me through the contact information on the website if you've got any questions. I will get back to you. And currently for the Bowtechs, fortunately we don't have reds available. Everything is black for the Bowtechs. I use these just so they stand out a little better, maybe make you a little bit jealous with them. They do look pretty nice on there, maybe in the future.